When giant waves in Asia killed nearly 300,000 people, an urgent appeal for help went out across the world. 5,000 miles away in South Wales, a clown answered that call. The death toll was greater than the population of his hometown Swansea. In the Book of Clowns, Kingsley Pereira stands out as the only Asian clown registered in Britain. Now he's going back to his roots in Sri Lanka. He's joining many independent Westerners who are doing what they can to help the surviving children deal with the trauma of the tsunami.
The mass destruction is just unbelievable.
Just working against all the odds.
People need so many things which they just don't seem to be getting.
Back in Wales, Kingsley's family have mixed feelings about his trip.
Just so proud of him. He's an inspiration to many people. You know, we're terrified for him because you don't know what's going out there with the war as well between the Tamils.
The question for Kingsley is, can a clown with a conscience really make a difference? The wave affected 80% of the coastline of Sri Lanka. The capital city, Colombo, was spared. But it's the starting point for Kingsley's journey, weighed down with sacks of goodwill from people back home.
A clown is usually someone winding people up. The fool out of all the friends. Maybe the insecure person. And that's their way of relating. The possibility that was my way.
For his trip, he's chosen the versatile tuk-tuk, a familiar sight throughout Asia. This is the next stage of a very personal journey.
Although I was a clown and I was messing about, being foolish, I was still unhappy. I mean, I got to practice joking and tomfoolery in pubs and clubs with my friends and making people laugh. But then I was still a bit sad. So you've got to do something proper. You're going to want to make people happy. It's not what's out there, it's what's in here, our mind and our heart, the connection there. And now I can be a real clown.
Real he may be, but is he ready for the island? And is the island ready for him? Kingsley is heading for the remote east coast of Sri Lanka, a journey that will take him several days. His destination is the area hardest hit by the wave, and which also suffered some of the worst years of civil war. But his route through the heart of a country he's not seen for 18 years takes in much of the beauty that's made Sri Lanka popular with tourists. The Rock of Sigiriya is one of the main attractions.
We don't know the history because we couldn't afford a guide. How old is this? 1,600 years old.
1,600 years ago, Europe was still living in the Dark Ages. Today, European artists are using their skills to help people recover from the tsunami. Kingsley will meet them later on his travels, beyond the mountains to the east.
I think I became a clown before I actually realised what clowns were. But then I started studying clowns. Before that, I think I'd copy kind of clowning skills from my father through his tomfoolery.
A few hours on and Kingsley looks back on Sigiriya from one of the main spiritual sites in this mostly Buddhist country. Kingsley joins the pilgrims who've been coming here for the last 22 centuries. Housed within the cave temples of Dambulla are statues of the Buddha, whose 2,000-year-old teachings Kingsley has been studying.
I've learnt through meditation how to be compassionate. I've learnt about how people suffer and how we go through pain, and that how our mind is so important and that we can change our whole world and our whole outlook upon our mind.
It was more than just the beauty of the island which attracted Kingsley, and he felt it was a natural place for him to begin his relief effort.
You know, I know there's things going on around the world, other problems, but my parents are Sri Lankan, and I thought, oh, my relatives are over there. I didn't know what was happening, so now was the time.
Nearer the east coast and signs of civil war, 20 years of bitter fighting for the right to self-governance has claimed twice as many lives as died in the tsunami.
My parents didn't want me to go at some point because they were scared because there's Tamil problems there, but the people who are maybe causing the problems, they got affected by the tsunami. You're helping them too.
It's not just the fighting that illustrates the complexity of the people here, and Kingsley's surprised by the response to the latest disaster movie from Hollywood. It's a story about a giant wave.
Although our driver, his wife died in the tsunami, and you know, rescued her. She obviously died. He said, "Yeah, I go and watch a film the day after tomorrow. Big tsunami. I like the effects."
One thing that unites all Sri Lankans is the love of a hot curry.
We're just as lost as you guys when it comes to food. But the best way is to point. But professionally, with the hand like that, not with like that. It's just rude. What is this? It's mixed veg.
Looks like chili curry to me.
Yeah, it's like a leek. Let's see now. Have a taste.
Daybreak on the east coast. These are some of the lucky fishermen. Over 1 million lost their livelihoods as countless boats were smashed by the angry sea. The water's calmer today as Kingsley arrives in Aragon Bay. In the debris are memories of people who died here, nearly 1,000 of them, a sixth of the population. Most of the hotels, shops, homes and restaurants were flattened. Some people are starting to rebuild. One of the first that Kingsley meets is the manager of the Tsunami Hotel, who says the biggest loss has been the deaths of the village children.
So this time was school time.
Yeah.
Finish.
School time meaning for the Arab school time, Arabic.
Time. So the parents were going to collect the children, and
can't collecting children, they die.
And
children die.
Children dying in school. In the school they die?
No, on the way.
On the way home.
Yeah.
Right. Oh.
They can't run, no way. Wave, big wave, and water wash up.
Oh.
It's not long before Kingsley's charm is working its magic on the survivors.
I still don't know where my connection is in my job with kids. I just trying to do my best, that's all.
This home video shows the Galaxy Hotel 6 months before the tsunami reduced it to rubble. Many months on, and the owner relives the destruction of her dream.
This is the remains of my bathroom. That's the shower. And the toilet was there. I was sitting at a table about here, and I saw the water come in the gates of the hotel. And when we got onto the road, I looked back, and the wave was about here. We were running 1 minute, and then suddenly we were underwater. Like, that was the sensation. It was just like suddenly we were just in a really, really deep swimming pool or something, but one that was moving really, really fast. When we caught a hold of this wall and then the water receded, there was a body right next to us on the wall. That really freaked me out, and it made me realise how small whether you lived or died was like so small.
"150 years of British occupation can still be seen through the debris. And the people of Britain have not forgotten the country either, contributing millions of pounds in charitable giving, part of the biggest aid programme in history. Most of Sri Lanka now relies heavily on tourism, so the clean-up operation here is vital to attract back the holidaymakers and the independent travellers. The famous waves of Aragon Bay are quieter than they might be, leaving room in the water for any old clown. Some surfers have remained loyal to Sri Lanka, but the tsunami has affected them in ways they were not expecting.
If anything's changed, it would be that the smaller things that I might have got annoyed, or the more insignificant things that I might have got upset about, I don't get upset about anymore. Yeah, just to think that your life could finish so quickly like that, and then to go on. But I think eventually this place will just become the same as it was before, and the memory of the tsunami will still be with people, but I won't be so much fear in their everyday lives.
For the locals, everyday life continues. Here, amongst the skeletons of houses, a wedding celebration in a refugee camp. One key figure in the relief effort is this young woman from Europe. She's one of many independent Western women who've made their homes here among the suffering.
In the beginning I was really, had a lot of nightmares about tsunami, being in tsunami, seeing people die in tsunami, seeing people drown, and I think that was kind of a way for me to deal with it all. I was supposed to stay in Sri Lanka for only 5 weeks, and I also promised my parents to be back after 5 weeks, and it just didn't happen. I'm going to stay really longer. I have no plan to go back. I cancelled my flight, and just as long as they need me, I'm going to be here.
Leaving Esther to coordinate the building of shelter for some of the 500,000 people made homeless by the sea, Kingsley does what he does best. While Kingsley entertains the children in the camp, other Western women are helping the local schools stay open with donations from the outside world.
We have here something from a school in England, in Wales. I haven't been a teacher before, so it's been a really learning experience for me. Something that's been really hard though, because the school was taken out by the tsunami. I mean, we just have roofs over our heads, we're in the sand, and the fields, I mean, as you can see, it's water and rubble and glass. There's nowhere for the kids to play. Wind blows everything away, sand and everything. I mean, nothing can stay proper, and you're just working against all the odds. So it's a constant struggle.
The struggle is perhaps even more severe further north.
We're in a refugee camp in Batikaloa. It's in big warehouses. I think for me they were rice warehouses. The buildings are made out of corrugated tin or iron. They're really, really hot. The ground is just sand. I think people must be getting sand in all their possessions, and just turned up today with an art project who are getting the kids and the adults as well to draw pictures, which they're all seeming to enjoy doing.
In a country without a history of counselling, creativity is allowing people to express their emotions. You don't need to be a psychologist to see what dominates the thinking. The refugee camps come in many shapes and sizes. This is one of the better ones, and it's where Kingsley has been asked to give his first performance.
But this camp is like long shelters, long white shelters, and there live 4 families in each shelter. At first I didn't want to go to Sri Lanka because of the tsunami, it was too dangerous. But when we came to Kandy, it just seemed right to be here and pay attention to the kids and talk to the families and just show them someone's care and try to move the fear away from them so they won't fear another tsunami.
The show is a challenge without the use of words, but it doesn't take Kingsley long to find a universal language.
Humour is accepted all over the world. We all laugh. There's certain things I know that there may be cultural difference, and obviously, you know, they're religious and religions too, they may not accept. There's one thing I think we all connect with, and that's love. And if I'm projecting love and fun without any sympathy or even empathy, you don't need to use that. You just need to just give genuine love, give people, you know, your love.
As the laughter builds in the camps, the men have gathered in town, in protest. Small traders are unhappy at the government's efforts in easing their hardship.
That's a big problem. Now, you know, this situation very bad. We have no water, no toilet, no house. We are raining at the moment, but we can't sleep in the house, you know. We have no any house. Big problem.
Many people are here lost. With Ajiyar also, lost wife and child, and auntie also. 3 houses all was lost. In the village people, everybody lost a lot of things. All people of this village living before the tsunami, rich people. Now everybody poor.
Government compensation and plans for permanent rehousing are seen by many as too little, too late. Another village school, and Kingsley's arranged to perform again. It's exactly 100 days since these children lost 16 classmates to the giant wave.
I had to do a variety of performances up and down the hall. They were laughing after, like normal kids really. Same thing, anywhere in the world. Well, as the headmaster has just said, they're going to have special prayers later on today. And they were all a bit sad. But he just said to me, "You've changed the day. You made everybody happy." And I thought, you know, I'm all for it. To change people, to, you know, from sad to happy.
It's a big return already on the small investment he made in coming out here.
The reason we came in this school today is not because of hordes of paperwork and computers and files and emails. It was a matter of, we're in the village. The cook was cooking for us. He said, that, "Would you like to perform in the school?" My wife's a teacher, and it was arranged within a matter of hours.
From the school it's on to a hospital, where months after the wave, child victims are still being treated. The visit is very different from some Kingsley remembers from troubled times in his earlier life.
I was chronic asthmatic, the bronchial pneumonia every year. Sometimes I'd be in hospital for a day on oxygen machine. I was on all sorts of pills, anti-acid pills, painkillers, the strongest painkillers. I didn't know which pill was what, as most people do.
Eating only fresh food changed and possibly saved his life. And at his lowest point, a new door opened.
I found about meditation then. It got me at a higher level, as they say. I didn't know about that. I thought a higher level was just through drugs, you know, not through closing your eyes and visualising and thinking for others. Wonderful. You're welcome. Jessica, Nandri.
Health provision in the West may lack funding, but the hospitals in eastern Sri Lanka would love the resources we take for granted.
In Europe and in the West, I think we just have the advantage of being born there and have the advantage of being able to go to school and being able to choose the job we want to and being able to get the knowledge we want to. And the people here don't have that advantage.
What could we give for children? Entertainment or toys or?
What is nice is something like this, something what you did now.
Okay.
You know, just give them some animation. It is something the children here, until a certain level, they don't even know.
Leaving the young student nurses to enjoy the balloons, Kingsley is heading north again.
So it's bye-bye from, where are we? Batikalo, all the way to Trincomalee. Yippee!
But not before a surprise meeting with his mother's family. It makes him look deeper into his own identity.
Of all the problems you get through racism, people picking on you, it's not our fault, is it? We're everyone. I always wondered, you know, when I was at home, why was I born in Britain? Because I was born away from all my family. So it's really important that we stop thinking about ourselves and visit our families.
It's mid-April and the start of the Sri Lankan New Year's celebrations. Candles have been lit to remember the dead. The Sri Lankans are praying for happier times. As dawn breaks after a long night of festivity, firecrackers explode all across the country. The first candle of the new year is lit, and a traditional breakfast of milk pudding, sweets and fruits is prepared.
The tsunami has hopefully brought a lot of people like me back to maybe go and see their family and do things for people in their country.
After 3 weeks on the road, it's time for the final performance. It's at a temporary refugee camp in a college in the town of Batikaloa.
Bit of colour. I hope it's not too scary. I knew that kids had lost their families and they don't want you pointing things out to them. They just want you to be like them, really, not an adult.
Kingsley's drive to ease the suffering of the children here has had unexpected benefits, and he feels he's come home with far more than he took out.
Coming back from Sri Lanka has made me really prioritise my life. But I've come back much, much more calmer. And it's a bit of a shock, really, because when I'm doing things, I'm looking at the old me, how I would have reacted. But now, everything's much more calmer.
Fitting then that Kingsley's final performance should have won the hearts and minds of children, teachers, parents, and even soldiers.
Yes! Yes! I put a spot in his head! I'm in a spot! Marvelous! What a way to go! What, look at that! Perfect! I have grown from coming from Sri Lanka. I would recommend that we all go and reach out and just go.
Did you stop and spare a thought for him before you passed him by?
Visiting Amsterdam, back in Wales.